Creatively speaking, Pokemon as SCPs is not one of my more challenging series to do. But hey, I love Pokemon, I love SCPs, I love drawing slightly creepier, more rendered versions of cartoony things, and more importantly, this is probably by far the most requested series I get from people in the comments to bring back. So, doesn't seem like there's any downside in continuing to do it. I've pulled more suggestions from the comment section of the previous video, and those are the Pokemon we're making SCPs out of today. Let's go. Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like, but either way, enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who are new here, I am Professor Oakland, here to inform you about some challenges facing the Foundation and more SCPs under our watch. Let's begin. Item number SCP-P658. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Specimens of P658 are to be kept in a specialized rainforest imitating biome at Facility Kalos, with tungsten-reinforced walls. Previously, we'd trialed them in the Safari Zone in the Ruby sector, but they proved too dangerous and unpredictable to be around other SCPs. Personnel are only to enter this containment after sleeping powder has been successfully dispensed to put all subjects to sleep. Description: P658 is a humanoid amphibious species known for their incredible speed and agility. They have blue mucus-coated hides and large tongues that can retract into their mouths, but often rest wrapped around their shoulders, somewhat like a scarf. They've often been compared to ninjas due to their cunning nature, swift movements, and, more notably, their most powerful biological weapon. These creatures are able to form water particles in the air into condensed projectiles that resemble massive shurikens, commonly used weapons by feudal Japanese mercenaries. They can hurl these projectiles with such force that they can carve through metal, including the metal we often use to line our containment cells, hence needing reinforced tungsten to help keep them contained. They aren't inherently violent. Some have come into containment with a fair amount of ease, but on occasions, when they have felt threatened or simply been in an aggressive mood, they've proven lethal to come in close contact with. The first ones were found in the Amazon rainforest, where they've lived largely out of sight from locals thanks to their highly elusive nature. But after a few groups of tourists managed to get photos, the Foundation was compelled to step in. One of the specimens we have in containment we actually found when it was still quite young, and it had a very different appearance originally. Like many other SCPs we've studied, these creatures evolve over time. P658s start out much smaller and rounder, with large eyes sprouting from the top of their head. They also grow white bulbous orbs around their necks that get larger through their youth, then disappear when they reach adulthood. We're as of yet uncertain what the purpose of these growths are, as we've yet to find another young version of the 658 species. We currently have 5 in our containment and believe there are at least another 24 out in the wild. Of course, the one not in our containment that vexes the Foundation most is one that has unfortunately bonded with a young man who has become the bane of the Foundation's efforts to keep SCPs out of public knowledge. But it's more fitting to get to him in the explanation of our next SCP. Item number SCP-P025. Object Class: to be determined, but likely Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. When this creature is captured, it will likely be suitable to keep it in a standard containment cell, with the addition of rubber-coated walls. Personnel will only be permitted to enter in full electricity-resistant attire. Description: P025 is a 2-foot-tall rodent creature with a yellow hide and large rabbit-like ears. It has red pouches on its cheeks and a lightning bolt-shaped tail, fitting given its most anomalous ability. The creature has the power to create massive bolts of electricity that it can shoot from all across its body. It can also absorb electricity through its tail to power it up even further. The electricity it can emit has proven powerful enough to wipe out an entire field of livestock in a single shock. The creature is incredibly dangerous, and we have every intention of getting it into custody. But a young, notorious, so-called cryptozoologist has made this increasingly difficult. Satoshi Matsumoto, whose internet alias in cryptid circles is Ash Ketchum, is currently in possession of the only version of this creature we've yet to find, though we believe it is possible there are more of them. Satoshi found this creature when he was only 10 years old, and we were quickly flagged to its existence and sent two of our finest operatives at the time, Jesse Musashi and James Miyoji, to retrieve it, but the creature had formed a bond with the boy and refused to leave his side. When they tried to take the creature by force, it electrocuted them both so badly that they were nearly killed. We've since attempted on many occasions to retrieve the creature to no avail, and all the while, Satoshi has done all he can to alert the world to this creature's existence and prove that other SCPs, that we work quite vigilantly to keep hidden from the public, do indeed exist as well. He has become one of the largest threats to our work since the unfortunate SCP-P150 incident, a case for another time. He has managed to befriend a number of other SCPs over the last few years as well, including a P658 that will also do whatever it takes to keep us away from Satoshi. He regularly posts videos of P025 and his other SCP allies that we promptly remove from wherever he posts them, though often many people will have seen them by the time we have them removed. We have been able to pay off and manipulate many media outlets to keep Satoshi off the more mainstream platforms, and we have also released videos debunking the appearances he has made. But this gets harder and harder as every month goes on, as more and more people are seeing his creatures and suspecting that many more anomalous creatures like them could be out in the world. We have debated assassinating him, but as he is only 15 years old, many in the Foundation have unfortunately agreed that this would be immoral, and we can find another way to keep him out of the public eye. Hopefully we get on top of this soon, as he and P025 have become more than a regular nuisance to our work. Item number SCP-P094. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. P094 is to be kept in a 10x10 cell in which a specialized psionic frequency is to be consistently played to keep it from phasing and slipping through the walls. The room is to be kept consistently lit with no object inside that could cast a shadow. Once a day, a D-Class personnel is to be placed inside its containment for the creature to haunt. Description: SCP-P094 commonly appears as a round purple mass of shifting ghostly slime and smoke. It bears a wide grin and leering red eyes, also often flaunting a large grotesque tongue. This creature's origin is unknown, but there are those in the Foundation who suspect that it was the spirit of a deceased human, warped and mutated over decades into the treacherous being it is today. It was first found in a tower in Transylvania that had long been believed by locals to be haunted. After a series of disappearances got townsfolk riled up, we finally sent a field operative to investigate, and never heard from them again. As a follow-up, we sent a group of 5 researchers, including armed guards, to look into the tower's haunted nature next. The group searched for 23 minutes before they all reported a drastic drop in temperature in the tower. The whole room then reportedly went hazy. Their flashlights were casting shadows all across the room, which we'd later discover made for many hiding spots for P094. The creature soon sprung out of one of the operatives' shadows, licked their entire body, then hid away in another shadow. It did this to 3 agents before they deemed the mission too dangerous and fled. The operatives who'd been licked barely made it to the jet for returning to the Foundation. In the hour after leaving the tower, their bodies slowly withered, their skin grayed and wrinkled, and their eyes sunk into their skulls. The creature had cursed them, and to this day we've found no way to reverse this once it's occurred, which it has on multiple occasions since. We were able to apprehend the creature using psionic cannons pumping a frequency that disrupts P094's ability to phase its body through objects and into shadows, but we've found on occasion it has been able to shift its form and escape containment regardless. It is entirely possible that the creature is toying with us, making us believe we are able to contain it, when in truth, it could leave at any moment. We suspect the only reason it hasn't made more escape attempts is because of the D-class personnel we place in its cell once per day for it to have its tormenting fun with. But, eventually we will have to discover for certain if we do truly have the creature trapped, or if this is all its own clever ploy to eventually have its fun on the very facility that currently houses it. Item number SCP-P562. Object class can vary from case to case, but tentatively Euclid. Special containment procedures. P562 specimens reside in a Foundation graveyard in a redacted location in Russia. Operatives are to ensure that no other burial grounds are created within 25 miles of this location to ensure the specimens do not get confused and attempt to escape. Description: P562 is a breed of phantasmal entity, created when certain deceased human souls are leaving their bodies. They have large ghostly heads with arms sprouting from them and a narrow body that leads down to a mask that they all carry. The appearance of the mask varies from case to case, as it has been proven that they resemble the face they wore in life. These creatures generally reside in graveyards, rarely floating far from the place their past body was buried, though in some cases they have seemed to forget where their own gravestone is and wander off to another, often having to be led back by Foundation operatives. Common cases of P562, referred to hereafter as P562A, are not hostile and must only be contained to keep their anomalous existence from public eyes. When one is found, its former body is dug up and its grave is brought to the Foundation-protected gravesite, where it can then float around at night freely under our watch. In rare cases in which one begins to wander off from the site, an operative is permitted to start defacing the specimen's gravesite, which often will promptly remind it where it is and drive it to return. If an operative is forced to do this, they must then move quickly away before the creature returns to prevent being assaulted. These creatures do have some lethal abilities, similar to things P094 has proven able to do, but there have been very few incidents of them being violent due to their generally calm nature. That of course brings us to P562B, a more recently discovered variation of these creatures. This version of P562 carries a slab of concrete with satanic markings painted on it in place of a mask. 562Bs are much more prone to violence and will often attack Foundation personnel upon their approach. Upon first discovering one of these variations in Cairo, Egypt, it was believed to be a unique offshoot of the species, but a month later another was found in Yemen, then a third in New Zealand. Thus far we've deduced that around 1 in 20 of these creatures will take on this altered form. Research was eventually done into the people who tend to spawn these entities in death, and in most cases of 562B, their family and friends have described them as angry or aggressive individuals. It is believed that this more violent breed of the species are spawned from vengeful souls that have lasting hatred for someone or something in the world of the living. We have been able to get all cases of P562B to the containment site, but it has proven a much more difficult process. Now, hopefully that has gotten many of you up to date on some of the entities we must continue to study and keep from the world. In my next lecture, I'll be discussing some of the more godly or legendary SCPs we've encountered, so if you have any specific requests for ones you'd like to be informed about, please let me know on your way out the door or in the comment section below. Thank you everyone, and good night. And that concludes Pokemon as SCPs Round 4. And as I hinted at the end of the lore there, the next episode is going to be specifically legendary Pokemon, so leave me your legendary Pokemon suggestions in the comments. I'll probably line up that episode to come out around the time Pokemon Legends Arceus comes out, but we'll see, maybe a week later, I don't know. But anyway, for anyone that's new to the channel, you can always check out the other 3 Pokemon as SCPs episodes I've got on here, or if you want something more story-focused than lore-focused, maybe check out my Hollow Knight horror story episode. But besides that, that's all for for today, except of course for ending the video on a positive or uplifting note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is that the less time you spend responding to negative people, the more peaceful your life will become. Sometimes it's just not worth spending tons of time trying to defend yourself against someone who might be determined to misunderstand you anyway. You don't have to convince negative people to be positive yourself. Hope that was helpful to someone out there. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and the next episode is going to be coming out on Christmas Eve, and it may be almost exactly as goofy as my Christmas episode from last year, based on a very determined commenter who has been commenting the exact same thing since last Christmas. I'll see y'all there. Goodbye.